Alright y'all, just open up my box from Wetlander. It's tough to see right now, and I'll show it to you in a minute, but this is the Gheenoe, and I've done surface prep. I've already sanded down all the glass that I repaired. I sanded down the entire surface that I'm going to put the Wetlander on, and I've seen a lot of things on Wetlander, but I've only seen one of actually applying it, so I thought maybe it would help if I showed that process. But the surface prep has been done. I didn't want to bore you guys to death doing that. I fixed a couple of damaged places on the bottom of the hull. This is the two-part mix that it's got. This is the top coat, which is going to be a slate gray. This is the primer. You're supposed to mix all this together, so I'm going to do that and then do several coats on it. I've got a 3/8 inch nap roller that I'm going to use. Of course, my gloves to wear during the process. They have really good instructions. Of course, the one thing for us in Alabama is the humidity, and they want you to keep the humidity as low as possible. Well, we don't get that choice in Alabama. So what we're going to try to do is if I feel like it's not curing in time, I'm going to cover, put a tarp over, and put fans on it, just kind of help hopefully reduce the humidity and help it to cure faster. But the instructions that come with it are great. They've got a really good website to deal with as well. So we're going to go forward with it, start mixing our primer and get that going forward. The only thing you need to know is do not let this stuff freeze. It says that on everything that you see. Don't let it get too cold. Don't let it freeze. Like I said, in Alabama, we don't have too much issues with that either. So, all right, here we go. Let's see what happens. This one says shake well before using. And this one said shake violently before using, so I had to do this one where you couldn't read it because I didn't want y'all to hear all the cussing. About like thick chocolate milk. Says it's got a pot life of about an hour, so I think it's going to thicken as it goes, but I got a little bit of time to work with it, so it's not like you got to rush through this part. One thing I forgot to show you, and I did take their suggestion, I've got 2 layers of tape. One is going to be pulled off after the primer's done, one will be pulled off after the top coat is done. So 2 layers of tape going around your marks on your hull. I'm going to try on this one to come right around that edge because I'd like to have a little bit of wear protection right on that lip. And like anything, several thin coats is better than one thick coat. So. I don't know how easy it is to pick up that. You can see one giant glob there. I'll fix that here. But you can see the color kind of changing. And where I put it on, the first time, it's kind of porous looking almost, kind of thinly veiled. But they said that that's going to happen. The way this stuff spreads out, it'll spread out kind of thin. And the next coat on it will grab a little bit thicker, and it'll go on a little thicker. So one coat of the boat, about half my little jug here. And that's one coat all the way around, so I'm going to load her up again and go back on it, so we'll see what happens. Got 2 full top coats on, and then the little bit that was left in the jug, I went back around, and any place that I could just barely see through a little bit, I went ahead and touched it up. According to the instructions, I'll let it sit all day in the sun overnight. Tomorrow I'm going to come back and totally go over it with the 150 sandpaper again to kind of etch this top, wipe it down with acetone, and then put on the top coat. So come back tomorrow, let's see what happens. Well, we ran into a little bit of a weather snafu. The tropical system that was out in the Gulf kind of turned right, so it's sort of putting a damper on everything around here. I went out this morning and it was raining, and it amazed me the water that was beating up, and that was just the primer that was on this thing. So I hadn't even done the top coat yet. But I mean, the water beat it up just wonderfully on it. So I'm anxious to see. But I end up wrestling it here in the garage, which is, you can see that. I mean, I got a messy garage. My wife is definitely not happy about this, but it's hopefully be temporary. The instructions say go ahead and lightly scuff the hull with 220. I did use this little foam, so it's kind of bendy. It allowed it to get into nice rounded places. This is a 3M, found it in the paint section at Home Depot. This made it a whole lot easier, you know. But I did find that I was trying to sand, not lightly scuff. So be aware of that, because you can go through this top coat or this primer coat, and you don't want to do that. So I went back to just being more careful, and I just lightly scuffed the entire hull. Then I wiped down with a damp rag. The first one said to do it with the acetone. This one just said damp rag, so all I did was water and did a damp rag. I've had the fans going on it, drying it off. It is super hot in this garage, but it's also humid, so I'm going to be running the fans on it for the next 3 or 4 days just to try to help cure it out. So, but we're going to start this process now. I'm going to go ahead and shake. Remember, shake this one vigorously, but shake this one violently. You can really see that it's kind of going on, kind of spider webby, and they said that that's to be expected, but that the next coat will help to close that up, and try to do multiple thin coats instead of one really thick one. Just so y'all could see what I'm talking about. See if you can see it. Kind of looks like spider webs on there right now, but they said it'll thicken up, and then a light roller coat will change that out. So, all right, we're gonna keep processing. Right now, the fumes are not bad. I know I didn't talk about that on for the primer coat. The primer coat was not bad either. So, we'll keep at it. All right, I don't know how easy it is to see in this garage lighting, but when I went back over it, but I did not load the roller again. So I just rolled all the little spots, and the spider webs are almost a solid coat now. So I believe when I go back with the second coat, I'll be about rolling perfect. So just a little tip, just don't load your roller the second time when you go over it. Just go around and it'll smooth out all them little bumps and ridges. Alright, I don't know how well that can be seen. Like I said, I apologize for the garage lighting, but I had to do what I had to do. I did 2 full coats and a third coat almost all the way around. When I noticed that I was getting down to just the dregs, I went back and went over all of my keel and any high point places that I knew were going to get rubbed the worst. The outside rub rail, and you see I dropped that on the edge so I can have a little bit on that rub rail. So it's got a sit and cure. The instructions say within an hour to pull this tape off. So I'm going to go grab some lunch, come back and pull this tape off. And then after that, it says it can be up to a 7-day cure for this. Now with a fan blowing on it and some heat, of course the best thing would be get it out here in Alabama sunshine. But I don't know when Alabama sunshine is coming back according to all the tropical stuff. So I'll have the fans going on it. It's going to be in here in the garage. Hopefully it'll go ahead and cure. It says to test it with a thumbnail. Make sure that the thumbnail won't go into it. But the instructions call for a 7-day cure. So we'll come back after a while and see what it looks like. Alright y'all, I owed you a shot of the Wetlander before I flipped it over and totally forgot about it. So anyway, I moved on. The boat is on the trailer. I've actually had it on its first maiden trip. I can't believe how tough and how slick this stuff is just on the boat. Now I'll come back later on after I run it a few times. Now this boat's not going to be used a whole lot. This is an extra. So don't look at a year's worth of use on this boat as being able to compare it to anybody else. But when I do use it, it's going to be used in rocks, in oysters, in places that do not treat normal glass very well. So I'll keep you posted on what it does. It went on great. I over rolled my top coat paint onto this, and nothing sticks to the Wetlander. So you can see where this is kind of coming off on the side, and that's fine, because I was more worried about that straight line on the Wetlander than I was on the top coat. This is going to end up looking like a tiger shark one day anyway. So, but the Wetlander went on like it was supposed to. It feels great, super slick. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting down the road. But I just want to give you an update, show you what it looked like on.